people versus Marco Michael Despicus.
The attorney said to be the mastermind of the Daniel Hutchinson killing faced a judge Friday. Marco Despicus is charged with felony firearms, premeditated first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit premeditated first-degree murder.
Okay, the trial of the man accused of taking out Dan Hutchinson, a.k.a. Hutch, the famous jeweler from Detroit that was gunned down in the parking lot of his business. It's been, 2 years now, and it took, I think, a year for charges to come, and the trial's going on right now. And the main witness is this guy, Darnell Larry. But one of my friends, Dion, he knows him, he remembers him as Darnell Larry, because he knew him from prison, and when he got out of prison, he was taking him to West Virginia with him, because my friend has a nightclub down there. And, he's trying to expose him to some other things he could do other than crime when he got out of prison, and a bunch of stuff happened. And so the trial is pretty complicated. What they're accusing them of is that this lawyer, who was Hutch's lawyer, told Hutch, hey, you should have a will, and people should have a will. And he wrote himself into the will, and then he hired this guy you're about to see testifying, he hired him to get rid of Hutch and his wife so he could inherit the money, and this guy got his cousin to be the trigger man. Well, that's the prosecution's allegation. So the trial is going on right now. So before I do a big breakdown of the trial, I thought this would be an interesting hors d'oeuvre. So this is the story of the accused. Well, he's not accused, he's confessed because he made a deal. He did 22 years in prison or something like that already, and they let him take a deal for, I think, 6 to 20. And he's the one who orchestrated this. He was working at a Reefer Grove facility, and he was also managing this apartment building, and he met these guys, this Raptopoulos and Biscus, I guess they're Greek. And they said, hey, can you get somebody to do this? And he says he got his cousin, but he's confessed to his role in it. So here you go.
I lied to the police in the beginning to save, to not to involve Marco Despicus.
I understand.
In that at all, period. That is facts. That is the reason why I lied.
That's Darnell Larry explaining he didn't want to involve attorney Marco Despicus in the murder of popular jeweler Dan Hutchinson. But according to prosecutors, Despicus was the one behind the plot.
I met him back in like 97. We met just by being in prison and crossing paths. He was a Morris American for short, in prison terms is Mobite. His prison, everybody called him Young Eel. So he was in prison, obviously under an alias name too, because they called him Young Eel. So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
We met briefly.
Did he make any impression on you in prison, or is he just another guy?
Yeah, at the time when I met him early on, he was just another guy. And we kind of kept it moving. So,
but he was from your neck of the woods.
Yes, he was from the east side. He literally used to run with the Chambers brothers back then. He was older than me. Like at the time, I was in my early 20s. He was like 30 something. Before I get out, I go to this prison that me and you was talking briefly about earlier, about when the inspector was suspected me of selling weed. At this prison is when I caught back up with Darnell. This was before I came home. This was like 2007. I came home in 2008. So when I caught back up, when I seen him at that time, the reason the inspector was on me for a purpose, because I was dealing in the weed. So Darnell wanted to be involved in that. So that's how me and him.
Did you involve him, or did he seem like someone not to involve?
No, I involved him.
Okay.
So
he was fine with that.
Yeah, he was fine with that. Me and him got involved in all of that.
Jail, what kind of guy? He wasn't like intimidated. He was just another, and he was not a victim, but not a predator.
Yeah, he just, he one of the guys that you would look at. He an older guy at the time. He probably was in his 40s at the time. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So this is damn near 2000.
Yeah, this is 2007.
Oh, this is when when you were in a parole violation. Or no, that's when
No, I'm on my way home. I'm on my way finna go home in 2008. And this incident happened at this prison. So anyway, that's when me and him got close before I came home. So anyway, when I came home, I kind of lost contact with a few people because I'm trying to get back off in the groove of my life. So he come home in 2012. I get a call from an unfamiliar number, and it was him. So I go meet up with him. What's going on, this and that. And I'm gonna tell you, you don't want to stay stuck in old patterns, old ways. You always want to elevate, but some of us still stay stuck in old ways. And one of the old ways and traditions that we had for guys that had come out of prison was you looked out for him when he came home, because he ain't got too much of nothing. So when he came home, that was my thought process. Well, this is a guy I knew him in jail. He's calling me for help. I'm able to help him.
You made some money with him in jail, or he helped you make
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and he didn't seem like a bad guy in jail. I didn't really know what he was in jail for, but I knew he had did 20 years or a little over or whatever. So, and I looked at him as one of the, we called him Unc. You know what I'm saying? So he come home, he called me, boom. I got a situation that's going on in Virginia. I used to hustle in Virginia illegally. West. Okay. West Virginia. I used to be on all that, but it got to a point where, I met some good people down there, and I got into the entertainment and all that. I started promoting concerts up here, and I met a club owner down there, and it just like, why be off into some illegal stuff when this is here? Like, you can entertain people and, people.
It wasn't weed in West Virginia.
No. So, but at the time when I took him down there, it's for some legal purposes.
Oh, okay. So you weren't like, hey, come sell drugs.
No, I'm like, listen, man, it's a different atmosphere for you. You ain't got to be up here, because he was finna get in trouble up here. I knew it. You know what I'm saying? Come down here. The women is plentiful. You just came home from prison, so that's definitely gonna be good for you. I got the club going on. I'm promoting parties down here. We always dealing, making some. You're going to be all right if you come down.
This is what year?
2013. He came home in 2012, but we didn't get off into that until months later. So, but when I took him down there, he got caught up in the underground world. He couldn't let it go.
The profit margins were so high.
Oh, of course. Ain't no doubt about it. Small town, as far as from up here to down there. You're dealing with a smaller town and all that. Yeah, of course. So that was
a place you could come, like you could be on your knuckles with working for somebody or with $1,000, and if you went hard for 3-4 months, you could have $30,000-$40,000.
Easily. Ain't no doubt about it. And you can do it in so many ways. It's just like with the entertainment world. Up in Detroit, it's 1 million different promoters that's trying to throw parties and concerts every year. But down there, it might be 5 or 6. You make the 6th or 7th one. You don't have no competition. It's just like you can, you know what I'm saying? So in any type of field you go to down there compared to up here, it's plentiful. You can get in where you fit in. And this is what I try to show him. But anyway, he chose that. And so down there, if you are from Detroit, just for the stereotyping purposes, and I get off into this later on, how I have been stereotyped and they took money from me and all type of stuff. But we'll get into that. But down there, you are definitely getting stereotyped if you are from Detroit. Period. If they see a Michigan ID or Michigan license plate, you are getting stereotyped. No matter how they do it, pull you over or whatever, harass you, they're going to stereotype you, because for so many decades, people from our area has been going down to these smaller towns and been acting a fool. It is what it is. So, they stereotype you. They don't want to say it, but they do. So we get a room one day before, after the club, after we left the club, It was 3, 4 in the morning. We go get a room, and we supposed to went to another room, a hotel, but we actually get a motel because it was closer. It's 3, 4 in the morning. We tired. We can't go well across town, so we end up doing that anyway. When we get the room, the very next morning, a knock came on the door. It was the police.
Why would they have been on you so fast? Just watching?
No, because down where they told us,
Several black males with a Detroit driver's license?
No, not even the black males, just the Detroit. They go to them hotels down there and check anybody here from these different states.
Oh, wow. Which states you think it is?
Michigan is number 1.
And then maybe like New York.
Yeah, you would go to New York, Chicago, California, LA, you'll go to that. But so yeah, that was and the receptionist at the desk told me, she told me this. So I was like, wow.
But these towns aren't big and like, you ain't really going there. There's no reason to be there unless you're like a truck driver or you're.
You got to be doing something.
Yeah.
Like literally, like, you know what I'm saying?
Vacation spot.
Yeah, that's why they took the money from me that one time, because they didn't believe I had a club. Like, I'm involved in this club. They didn't believe it. Anyway, so the police knock on the door. I got a gun. I got smarter as years went past.
You're still on parole at this time, or no?
Yeah.
Because you got violated and all.
Yep, they violated and extended me.
You were just freshly back out. Or
What you talking about?
From the Lupe thing.
Well, from the Lupe, no, I had been out like a year and a half.
Okay, but not that long.
Like, I was finna get off and be done with all that.
On parole.
Yeah, I had 2-3 months left at that time.
Definitely didn't want to get in trouble.
Heck no. And the only reason I even had the protection because of the club. And I'd be at night when we left that night, I had brought $7,000 from liquor sales. So but anyway, still I have got smarter over the years to protect things much better. But anyway, so at the time this was the case. They come in there. Before they come in there, I immediately take what I had as far as the weapon and hide it. I don't know if they're gonna find it, I don't know. But if they do find it, it is what it is. So, I don't know, I don't think Darnell got nothing. Like, why would he? I don't think he coming down here with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking that way, but he done came down here with me at this time, maybe 5 or 6 times. I did know he met a girl down there that he liked, and she was messing with him, so I kind of felt that. So he had been down there maybe a month or 2 prior to this, you know what I'm saying? So he was familiar, but I ain't think he was that familiar to be doing something, you know what I mean?
Criminal minds.
Man, he made some stuff happen. But anyway, so when they come in, they searching us. They like, y'all from Detroit? We ain't trying to talk, basically. We smell weed. We ain't got no weed. So they use that excuse.
Flush something, all right?
Yeah, that's what I'm finna get to it. So I tell him, I'm like, listen, anything illegal you got on me.
Before they came in.
Before they come in, when I hide the gun I had, before they come in, anything you got, give it to me now. I ain't finna go in the bathroom. And I'm finna flush anything that you got or I get that's illegal, anything. So boom, I go in the bathroom. My thing is, if they knock on the door, I'm flushing. They knocked on the door. So after this, they tell me to come out the bathroom. I come out the bathroom. They sit us on the bed. They searching, doing all this. They pick a boot up. They pull a plastic bag out the boot. I look like, what the? They like, who boot is this? I gotta give it to him. He said, that's my boot, and that's my stuff.
And what was it?
It was 7 grams of heroin. He took it, because he knew I ain't involved. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a slime ball could say that I don't know whose it is, and they gonna put it on both of us. But that's why I gotta do that. I can't say he took that, you know. But the outcome of that. So they take him and they tell me, we don't know your involvement in this or whatever, but you can leave. You know, after we search the car or whatever, whatnot, search you again, you can leave, you know. Bam. So, and you know, your friend gonna just call you. I'm like, all right. So bam, they leave, boom, do all that, take him. And about 2 hours, I leave there kind of shocked. I go to a friend of mine that's from down there. He lives down there. He's born and raised from there. So I go to his house and I tell him what happened. He like, oh man. He like, well, they ain't finna let him out of jail. You probably gotta go bond him. I'll find out his bond or whatever. Less than, like I said, 2 hours later, he called me and said, come and pick me up. I'm downtown. With no bond, no nothing. So the guy on Wood, like I said, he born and raised from down there. He said, man, you bet not go pick that guy up. Tell him you would pay for him a bus ticket or something, but don't go get him, man. That guy, ain't no way they finna let a guy from Detroit free with no bond that just got caught with some heroin. It's not happening. I'm like, you think so, man? You think who he telling though? What you, man, he probably trying to tell him something about you or something about me. Or anything he can tell him to get out of that.
Once upon a time, you guys you made some serious money.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so, and I'm like, you think so? He like, man, you bet not. So, you know, that's how me and his relationship started to, you know, distance ourselves.
He did call, because, what did he do?
So after that, you know, I ended up getting him a bus ticket to get home and, or whatever, whatnot. And, you know, he knew the apartment complex where I stayed at. So it was literally times that this guy, because I wasn't answering his phone calls, he asked me, was I going back down to Virginia? No, I'm like, no, I'm finna transfer the club over to Milwaukee because the guy that's the owner of the club, he moving his club. You know, I gave him a whole big old story why I'm not in Virginia no more. Because I did not want to deal with him just because of that. Like, no matter what I'm involved in, like, I just don't want that type of energy, that slime ball type of stuff around me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just by going through some different experiences, you know, it's just best to just keep them type of, you know what I'm saying? So that was my thing. Stay away from him. Anyway, he would park in the parking lot of my apartment complex and call me, he see my car, knowing I'm in there. And I lied to him and tell him I'm not in there. Like, literally, I was trying to get away and stay away from this guy. But anyway, during the midst of all this, I met a couple of his family members, you know, from times going to pick him up when he first got out of jail. I go pick him up at his sister's house. I go pick him up over here or whatever. And I had met his nephew. And his nephew, actually I talked to his nephew recently. His nephew the one told me that he was testifying on, you know, against this guy. I knew he was testifying, but I didn't know it was on video. So when I actually went on and seen it on video.
Testifying, and what's the case?
Unbelievable. Oh, I'm sorry. I can, you know, when I, you know, contacted his little nephew, and, you know, his nephew told me, you know, that, you know, that Unc all fucked up in that Hutch case. I'm like, yeah, man, is they saying he was the orchestrator? And nephew was like, man, hell yeah, man, he done got my uncle involved in it. My uncle a cold motherfucking killer, man, but my uncle wasn't in all that. He wasn't involved in all that at the time. But, you know, Darnell slick talker, man, he done, you know, talk my uncle all into some bullshit. And now
So that's his brother he's telling. Or that's his cousin?
No, that's his cousin.
But they got the same last name.
Yeah. So
First cut,
they real cut, yeah, first. So nephew telling me, and nephew, I'm like, well, how the family feel about it, nephew? And nephew like, man, we don't fuck with him no more, man. Don't nobody fuck with him, man. We can't even believe he would be doing that. You know, and you know, nephew was on some stuff like, I want to change my last name type of deal. Yeah, like literally, you know, so. But anyway, when I seen that in him, I wanted to distance myself from him.
Good thing.
But yeah, definitely. So he was trying to, you know, he was trying to do all type of stuff to get in contact with me. And it's crazy because he started becoming the manager of the apartment building that I stayed in.
Bizarre.
Oh yeah, I was going to reveal that they was in danger. That absolutely, that I was told to kill those particular individuals by these people. And when I say these people, I'm talking about your client, Angelo, and I'm talking about Marco Babikis.
Prosecutors say Bisbikis worked with 3 other men, Darnell, who you just heard from, Angelo Raptopoulos, and Darnell's cousin Roy Larry, to have Hutchinson murdered so he could benefit from the will. And Darnell says he wanted out.
I told this friend of mine that I was into something that was a wave above my head. And I asked him, what is it that I do? And he told me the best thing for you to do is to get far as you can away from those people. Marco Babikis asked me to kill Mr. Hutchinson and Mrs. Hutchinson. That is a fact.
You know, it was kind of like a stalkerish type of vibe that he was giving up. Like, why would you be parked in back in my apartment building? Why you keep on asking me to go back down to this place?
You could have been somebody they were like, get him.
Without me even knowing, still to this day.
You were enough of a level, or at least you could have been perceived as.
Yeah.
They could have been targeted.
Yeah.
So he became the manager of your building. That's bizarre.
Unbelievable,
That
man.
weirded you out. You moved out?
Heck yeah. Yeah. And after that, my sister moved. My sister was staying there in the complex too. She moved out after that too, went to Southfield. And yeah, you know, so we, you know, got away. But, you know, you would never think that a guy would put himself in that deep of a situation that he in now. But when I think back on it and why he was in prison in the first place, and then I think on all the little slimy stuff that I seen in him.
Some people too slick for
you know,
good too.
Yeah, it was literally like one day we driving back on the freeway. I tell him, I say, you can't drive in the left-hand lane unless you passing, or the police gonna pull you over, man. I'm finna smoke some weed. I don't want us to get pulled over. That's how I'm thinking.
But you're on the way back, so you don't have anything.
Yeah, well, I ain't having nothing going there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But you still don't want to interact with
you know, yeah, I'm finna smoke. You know what I'm saying? And weed was illegal out there. It ain't like in Michigan where it's legal.
Yeah, it'd be a hack.
You know what I'm saying? So, but he wanna stay in the left-hand lane. Where it ain't no. Yeah,
you told him what.
I just told him. And while he was driving over there, I told him, I said, man, you know you got to get over it. But, you know, sometimes you don't want to attack a guy's ego or nothing, so you kind of want to say it as polite as you can. You know what I'm saying? We get pulled over. Luckily, we had a young cop. He wasn't on no garbage or nothing. He just gave us a warning. But I looked at him. He like, yeah, nephew, you did say. Because I told you we called him Unc. So I'm like, man. So when we got it, you know, but that was before all this, so, you know, the snitching and all that. You know, my friend of mine from down there suspected him of snitching, and everything he said to me just made sense. You from Detroit, you getting out with no bond. I'm talking about less than a couple hours later. That right there, nah, I gotta stay away from you. And then it kind of starts showing.
They would have ran your name at the motel.
No, they took a picture of my ID.
So
the lieutenant at he asked the officer.
Unlike to the degree you were doing stuff, you would have been one of them. I mean, a lot of people from Detroit go to West V, but
right.
At the degree that you allegedly could have been doing stuff, you could have been like, oh, he wanted to. Not the main one, but you was certainly your name could have been on some list.
It definitely could have been.
And they saw, oh, he's involved, so they might have told him, get him.
And he involved in his club now
so
and all this.
Because he never got it, so he confessed to having 7 grams of heroin.
Yeah.
And he never oh, you stopped talking to him. So he apparently wasn't going to court. He gets a job at your apartment. So he out on bond working probably.
Yeah.
Trying to work somebody.
Yeah. And he ain't never go to jail from it. Nephew told me he ain't never get locked up for that.
And he was on parole, or he was...
No, he was
on parole, but he had just done 20-some years. So
yeah,
he wasn't someone they going to give a break to.
Heck no.
From Detroit, you just did 20 years.
No, at the time, he was on parole. No, he was on parole. No, you know what? I think he was...
Because they would have did a parole.
Yeah, I think he was off.
But still, that's something to hold. They're like, well, you got a bad record.
Yeah, just because of the record, ain't no doubt.
They were slamming anybody from Detroit. I mean, I know they were giving people 1 point a year for each OxyContin pill.
Damn,
You
yeah.
get 8 pills, you get 8 years.
Yeah.
So 7 grams of heroin, you can go into the West Virginia State Penitentiary.
Well, you definitely wasn't getting out no 2 hours later without paying no money. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, that was my...
It makes sense. He didn't even see a judge.
That's what I'm saying. 2 hours later, come on now.
That means you're not even going to be charged.
Yep. And I just believe that's how the feds work. You know, that's a Commonwealth state. So they, you know, it's
Well, the
feds.
state, not the feds, the state, that state, yeah.
Yep. I mean, that state, yeah.
That's indicative of they saw your name, and who knows the story he spent.
You never know. Yeah, he could have. Man, what? You know what I'm saying?
Because they didn't know who he. Oh man, I just got out of prison. I was trying to make a couple of hours, and then they'd be like, "Well, Dion Cooley, he
and now let me tell you,
people we already got, because there's always intelligence. Like if you're doing something,
always intelligent.
Somebody is telling the police your name. It may not get to the point where they can arrest you, but
they hear.
Yeah.
You can come on now. You know it.
The street is full of informants,
and I'm gonna say this.
Case, they just because of you get because they haven't interviewed these cops. They'll tell you like you can be in jail for like traffic warrants, and the intelligence officer will come through and just say, well, because I interviewed a gang squad, organized crime. He was like, I would just go to all the precincts, and everyone was in there for just petty. Got caught with a dime rock. You got traffic warrants. Hey, just. You got to make no case. Just who's doing what somewhere in Detroit.
Right.
And so if you're doing that every day, now you done heard this name or something called YBI on Dexter or whatever. Now you know. It's a guy over on such and such.
Right. You keep on hearing that saying, yeah.
And now that's who you pick. We're gonna run his name. We're gonna knock on a few doors. So
and it's crazy.
Probably were that down there.
And I don't know. For sure, but it's crazy because I would say about 3 or 4 months later after I quit messing with him, I get pulled over. Traffic stop. But it wasn't a normal traffic stop. It was one of those stalking traffic stops. Like I'm in
excuse to pull you over.
Yeah, like I'm in the store and y'all riding past and y'all do a loop around and come back to me. Yeah. Like what the. So they followed me, pulled me over. I end up having a little over $6,000 in the car. I just come from the club, like literally. They don't believe me.
Your club at your apartment.
Yes, they don't. It's like they don't believe me, but I got flyers and all type of stuff from the club in the back seat. But anyway, we are the stereotype or whatever. Once they seen my ID and where I was from, they took my money and all that. So I went through the legal process, did the proper, went through the proper way, showed them my income, showed them everything about why I'm down there, the club, everything. And, they gave my money back and apologized to me and everything. So, that was good. But that did show me that it's possible of the theory and the scenario that you came up with that could be the reason why that happened with him. But it was real strange, man. This guy was trying to come back down there with me and this, and and you never know if he was trying to put me in the position literally. Come on, man. He was sitting behind my apartment. This is the weirdest shit ever, man.
And then become the manager.
Became the manager.
When he became a manager, did you see him in the hallway and say so? You just got the fuck out?
No, I would play it off though. Like when he became the manager, he was living there. Now I got to see him. You know what I'm saying?
How long before you move, like 30 days?
Yeah, it wasn't 2 months.
Yeah.
Because I was already in the process of leaving anyway. But anyway, so, you know, I would play it off with him like, hey, what's up, man? Damn, I see you staying. Because they gave him an apartment and everything. He managed the whole building. They gave him a free apartment, all that, you know. So, you know, he showed me his apartment, all type of stuff. He bought him a Charger, a Camaro. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? He working.
Sound like he was doing something else because you don't get paid that much to manage no apartment.
Yeah, well, of course he was hustling. But he already just testified, which I didn't even know, but he already testified that he was selling weed.
Oh, like a lot?
Like a lot. He worked for them people at the weed farm.
Oh, that's how he knew them.
Yeah, that's how he knew him. He was working at the weed farm. Some manager of the building, he was managing the building.
Still?
No.
Oh,
still.
Oh, your building where you used to live?
Where I used to live. He was managing that building. And the guy who was involved, one of the owners, they was involved in growing the weed. That's how he got into the weed business.
Oh.
So he started working for them from the apartment.
Being a landlord, he met them.
Yes.
And these guys, so now he's spun a tale on the witness stand that the lawyer is quote unquote in the mind. But as we were talking,
hell no.
If the lawyer was already a serious criminal, why are you getting your landlord to find a hitman?
Stop it. You know what I'm saying?
You don't mix those.
Yeah, it would never happen.
Killers.
Yeah, it would never happen. So that's how he ended up meeting them. And you know, he told all the story on the stand. Anybody want to watch it, y'all definitely see him on TV. He's definitely on there, so. But other than that, you know, I heard that his plea deal was 6 years,
and he played
something like that.
To really being the
orchestrator. He was the.
He got the hitman. Was his brother?
Yeah.
Or his cousin.
Yeah.
So he about to get his cousin life on parole.
His cousin through. It's over. And I was kind of watching it. And I can see in the cousin's eyes, like, this slime ball motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you came to get me, and now you sitting here finna, you know, like, wow.
And that's why, young people, you shouldn't be involved in crime.
I'm telling you. Like, literally. That's what it like, in my city, where I'm from, Detroit, listen, man, if you in these streets, 90-80% of the people are out here telling on each other. That's just what it is these days. So I advise, don't even fuck with it. It's too much other legal money out here to involve yourself in to go down that route, man. Trust me, it's too much other legal money out here. I wish I